Hi everybody, I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Well, I'm just having a little quiet Sunday here on the mountain in Costa Rica, doing a little bit of cleaning, listening to some podcasts. Yeah, just kind of getting organized a little bit. Even for me in my chaos, I have to take one day a week to kind of clean things up and organize my little bit of space here. You might be looking at this title going, wow, I wonder what this one's going to be about today. And this is an interesting title. The reason I came up with this title and the reason I decided to do this video is I've finally taken a label. I've got my hardcore label. No, I'm just kind of joking. If you guys have watched many of my videos, you've probably heard me kind of make fun, poke at the whole label thing before. But you know, the word label, that's kind of a semantic. I mean, you know, I'm kind of poking fun at the extreme way that people identify with a certain label, but labels aren't all in all bad. But even so, I kind of like to think of this title as a description for me more so than a label, because as it says, it's non-dogmatic, it's always evolving, always moving. But like every once in a while, I figure you do kind of define not who you are. Like, I don't think eating defines who I am, but especially if you're doing a channel, if you're doing videos, if you have a presence on social media, you know, sometimes you can't be just willy-nilly. People want to know somewhat what you're doing. So I was doing some stuff last night. Guest had left, got some more back to just me being alone, so I had some time to think a little bit, and I was working on some video titles. Just kind of, I do that sometimes. I just sit down and brainstorm, write down titles, and then kind of see how they develop later on. And I got to thinking about this one, and I said, I think this is the closest to what I would have as a label, or how you would describe me. And then I took it a step further, because I said, I'm so not interested in the label things. I wanted to make sure, I wanted to kind of see what one of the labels meant. And there's it's very subjective. There's a lot of different versions of people's opinions about what constitutes a fruitarian. But one of the, I don't know what you would call it, one of the simplest ones, or kind of the ones I felt that was somewhat accurate, because they weren't telling you this is law, is about 75% of your food or calories comes from fruit. Now, I don't know exactly my percentage, and somebody's going to have to explain that to me sometime. I'm not great at math, but with basic math, I'm pretty decent. I have no idea. Show me the work. You know how your math teacher used to tell you, show me the work. I want to know how people come up with these precise numbers of what they are, like 97% raw vegan. How does one calculate 97? That's pretty accurate. I mean, that's pretty pinpointed there. How does one calculate that? I see all these percentages always bandied around, and I'm just like, people are just throwing stuff up in the air, or either I'm missing out on the raw vegan mathematics. But anyhow, I would say, more or less, guesstimating, since I don't know the formula, that if I don't eat 75% of my calories from fruit, I'm probably coming pretty close. Because, you know, pretty much my days, that's about all I eat during the day. Other than the little bit of greens that I get in, I'm already thinking today I've had, and Sundays, sometimes it's kind of that day of rest. I'm not completely doing like I do during the week. But so far today, I've had 32 ounces of juice. I had some orange juice mixed with sugarcane juice. And then about an hour and a half or so later, I had banana and ice cream with 2 big old mangoes on top. Now, I'm talking about, this is probably, I would say 800 or 900 calories of banana and ice cream, plus the mangoes on top of that. So you're going plus 1,000 there. So right there, I mean, I don't know, I forget how much calories 32 ounces of juice, but you know, right there, I've already got more sugar, more juice, more fruit than most people have in a week that don't eat like us. But anyhow, so I would say, okay, pretty much, yeah, I would have to say I'm 75% at least fruit during the day. I add greens in there. An ideal day would look like this for me, and there's not many completely ideal days, but kind of the framework. An ideal day for me would involve like getting up and having something that's a higher water content fruit, or a juice in the morning. And that's just how I roll. I'm not huge on the juice thing, but I do like a juice every once in a while. or, you know, just some mangoes, papaya, pineapple, depending on the time I have. And then ideally a next meal would be a calorie, like a heavier calorie meal, like maybe banana and ice cream or something. Now then on up into the day, we move on and we get into the green smoothies. Now I've only been having one green smoothie per day as an average. I've done more than that. So sometimes I need another green smoothie for the greens more so than the calories, and it can be a juggling act, but you know, okay, so I'll have that. And then I like to have a green smoothie or two with a bunch of kale crammed in there, or spinach. I mix it up sometimes. Sometimes a little bit of fat through the day. I do like that in there. It just kind of depends what I'm going to do for dinner or what I'm doing at the time. Like ideally, I'd like to have some sort of seeds in my smoothie all the time, whether it be hemp seeds or chia seeds. Okay, so that's all through the day. And then at night is usually a salad or some sort of, you know, fairly clean, raw vegan meal. I keep my fat different times of the year. Sometimes of the year I stick to 10%. Sometimes I go as high as 15%, maybe even 18% for shorter periods. And as you all know, I eat cooked food sometimes when I go back to the States. Every once in a blue moon here, I'll make a little soup or something. So that's the part I like about it. And that's why that very first part is probably the most important part to me. It's the non-dogmatic part. You know, I get it. Here's the reason I'm non-dog, and I don't have a problem with people being dogmatic about it for themselves. Hell, I don't have a problem with people, whatever they do, because you're eventually the one listening to them. I don't care if somebody preaches raw is law. You're going to die if you eat one bite of cooked food. Well, you've got to have enough, you know, innate intelligence to kind of filter through that kind of stuff. So I don't have a problem. I mean, you know, when I'm talking about sometimes poking on the whole fully raw thing, I mean, I think there's probably some people out there, and I've met them, I've talked to them, I've kind of gotten to know them, and I trust people's stories a little bit more when I know them, when I know a little bit of background, when I can get a read on if they're accurate, if they tend to exaggerate. And I know there's some people that have had gut disorders, autoimmune, Lyme, some other things that I've really, from getting to know them and hearing their story, they do really do much better on whatever health issue it is when they are eating fully raw. So I think there's probably some times when there's health related issues that yes, fully raw is the way to go. Fully raw is going to help you heal your body more so than adding the cooked in. But even so, I just don't know if I could ever be fanatic. I think people just tend to get caught up in the mind part of it of, no, I want to be raw vegan, and they hear all this, you know, hype about cooked food is poison, raw is law, this and that, and it's more up in their head. It's like that little bit of cooked food they're eating is not necessarily, it's not like throwing, like, I'm sorry, you can be eating the cleanest of the clean of raw. You eat a couple of sweet potatoes and it's not exactly like you've gone from up here to down here. It's not even exactly like you've gone from, oh, okay, now I'm invincible, I can't get sick, or nothing can happen to me, to all of a sudden, okay, now I've eaten 2 sweet potatoes and now my immune system's come down, or I'm not as healthy I was when I was eating 100% raw. I just don't buy that. I just don't buy that. So I'm gonna stick to what I'm doing, like I say all the time, and I have to throw that in every video because I'm assuming that every video that somebody's watching my videos that may have never seen one before may not ever see one again. So yeah, don't ever get me wrong. I never throw raw under the bus. I just don't like extremism. I don't like fanaticism in anything in life. I've railed against that, whether it comes to religion, politics, just a lot of different things in life. I just don't like that way of doing things, or that mentality of thinking. But I'm always going to be as raw as I can be at the particular time. When you're traveling, no, I'm not fanatic enough. Is it possible to travel raw? I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I just don't, for me, I don't put a high enough value on being fully raw every minute of my life to where, you know, I'm going to scramble around and do a whole lot of extra stuff when I'm flying. When I'm traveling, I try to make it as simple as possible. I mean, you know, unless you're going to the other side of the world and you're going on some slow travel method, it's usually going to be what? Not even 24 hours throwing you off of what you normally do. So in my case, I just try to do the best I can And then when I get to my destination, I just bam, jump right back on. I might do something, I might even be extra clean for a couple of days, just to kind of shake that off. But, and hey, I mean, I have to maybe factor this in too, although I've never heard anybody mention this. Maybe the way I live, where I live, how I live, I don't have the need to be that fanatic about it. Maybe if people are living in certain parts of the world, certain areas, around certain toxins they're taking in all the time, who knows? I will leave it open to interpretation. Maybe they have to be a little bit more fanatic. But, you know, if you're not breathing good air. I mean, like I say, I've mentioned this before. I mean, don't try to, you know, somebody living in a city, and some cities I know people living in dirty cities pollution-wise, you're taking in toxins, like the level of toxins you're taking in per day compared to what I'm taking in is a whole different ball game. I'm breathing pristine air up here. What's another factor with a lot of the foods here? I mean, you know, I can't explain that stuff. That's a little too sciencey for me, but that real vitamin D, none of this D4s or fake vitamin, but the real vitamin D is what pulls a lot of this stuff together. I mean, I was talking about that with my guest the other day from the standpoint of calcium and how complicated that gets and how the vitamin D has to be working with this. So, hey, two things that I got that's a big advantage, and I'm happy for them every day, and I'm grateful. So maybe that gives me a little bit of a oomph, a little bit of a head start. I'm breathing good air every day, and I'm getting vitamin D almost daily. You know, when you go for so long, I've kind of started saying, okay, well, I mean, I know I've got plenty stored up, so I don't have to get out there every day, but still I'm only maybe 5 out of 7 days of the week. So, your mileage may vary on this thing, but I would say in anything in life, don't be dogmatic. Dogmatic kills learning. Dogmatic closes minds. When I think of somebody as dogmatic on something, I just don't see them open to taking in new information, and that's just not the way to go. Not the way to go for me anyhow. So anyhow, if I'm going to have a label, that's going to be my label, but I still don't really like labels. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. I hope you'll hit that subscribe button and come back for more videos. I do videos every day. And when you hit the subscribe button, click on that little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Wow, we're coming up. It's almost, what day? March on Wednesday or so. Where does the time go? See you guys. Peace.